Recording in progress.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. It's Let's Talk Business with Cheryl J. Cousteau, and I am here with my co-host, Dr. Sinead Davis. Welcome back to the new year.
Hello, it's January. Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
It is, and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. A special shout out to our sponsor, Moffitt Cancer Center. Thank you for supporting us in 2021. And again, here as we begin the year in 2022. Without our sponsorship, we would not be able to deliver such incredible shows for you and bring such incredible guests. It's so great. This is the second hour of the show, but the first of 2022. I'm letting you all know, if you're tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, the doc is in the house today. And we cannot get away or around COVID-19 and all of the various variants that we are being attacked with. And we will talk to that in depth. A lot has happened. Do you make New Year's resolutions, Doc?
I do not make New Year's resolutions, but I set personal goals, and I say to myself that I'm going to stick to them. So I make plans for success. And that's part of the reason why we brought on Miss Jecara Rivera today, because she's going to help us with some of that.
Well, let's just say word to her right quick. Welcome to the show. We are going to officially introduce you, but since we're talking about the new year, what about you and New Year's resolutions?
Oh, I totally believe new year, new you. Every day is a fresh start, though. I love to set my intentions in the fall so I can sit on it. And then when January pops up, I'm already in motion. And so I can just breeze through the year knowing that I have milestones to reach. But I truly believe that we all should be goal setting. No matter if you start today, tomorrow, 20 years ago, you need to just keep moving toward the goal, wherever that goal might be for you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Don't really necessarily do the resolutions, but I am a strong proponent of setting goals. I mean, I am so goal oriented, and they stay before me. There is always a book before me, a planner before me. That's just the way I live. However, we're going to get through this year. I know you will be talking a lot about the subject of just that and the importance of helping us get through and navigate in this year. There's some things we want to take a step back, because we had a couple of that's that phone. We had a couple of shows off as a result of the holiday, and so grateful to be back here sharing with you guys. There were some individuals that we lost that both Dr. Davis and I would just like to do a little small memorial tribute, and we're going to start with, oh my gosh, the infamous Betty White. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, so certainly, as soon as someone says we actually lost Betty White, you think of how many times there was an announcement that we lost her, but then there was a follow-up to say how it was a mistake. On New Year's Eve, when that news came through, everyone was looking for the mistake post, but she actually did pass away of a stroke, but she had a very, very full life. Her career was long. It transcended, many, I guess, attitudes towards, older white women, or perceptions of older white female actresses of her generation, because she was an open book. She was an activist. And more importantly, when she, got a platform of her own, she opened doors for African Americans. It was for that reason, in addition to the Golden Girls, when I really, came to know how witty and spunky, Betty White was as an entertainer, but with interviews as a person as well, that I came to love her personally. So she will be missed.
I think we can all agree with you. Jecara, was that one of your favorites, the Golden Girls?
It was. I mean, we have stories upon stories about our favorite Golden Girl episodes, and Betty White definitely played her role, and she made that show very memorable. And to your point, Doc, is that she continued that in her career throughout. She kept that witty, that spunkiness, that funny. She was always the comedic relief, and she brought that joy to anything that she was in. So she definitely will be missed.
I am so glad you said that about the comedic release in her, because we're going to do a little comedy, and you will agree that that's what's going to help us as we've gone through this whole almost 2 years of a pandemic. Laughter is just so important, and Doc agrees it's so important for our health and our well-being and our mental health. Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate that. What I liked most about what Betty White did was the way she showcased herself and was able to help so many other women. And as Doc said, including us, the African-American women. So rest in heaven, Betty White. We certainly enjoyed and appreciate all of the contributions that you made in the lives that you touched. And one of my favorite actors was Sidney Poitier. And when I got that news, it was such a shock and just broke my heart. And because I can remember all the way back, I still love black and white movies. My husband and I look at them all the time. It's just one of my favorite stuff. But you know what? I saw an interview with him, and I'll ask Ricky to share the interview in our thank you post. And it was really, he was kind of like in a master class, or I think it was the Academy of Achievers. It's a phenomenal video, because that's the first time I heard him talk about how poor he was growing up. And you can read his book, and it's all in his book too. It's very well documented. But he actually said, could not read, could not write, could not speak.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that was a shock to me. And there he was a dishwasher, and he was proud to be a dishwasher. Mm-hmm. And his morals and his values from his parents was just so strong. But there's a quote he made, and this was his life. He went to look for another job as a dishwasher and saw a want ad for an actor. He said, wow, then they must want me. I don't know how to act. I don't even know what I need to do, but it was a want ad. So he figured they want me. Mm-hmm. Very quick. He went for the audition. And when the director gave him the part to read, it dawned on him, oh my gosh, I can call words, but that's not what Hollywood calls reading. And he did. And his words, he pissed the director off so much that he grabbed him by the collar, he jacked up the back of his pants, and he pushed him out, and he told him he would only just be a dishwasher. And he said, I never told him I was a dishwasher. Where did he get that from? A dishwasher. And he said he thought about that. He said, you know what? That's his perception of who I am. But he said, of my wealth and my worth and my character. What must I do to change that? Well, fast forward to where he is today. The other thing I didn't know was when he was born, the doctors had given him up, Doc, and had told the mom that they needed to just go ahead. He would not have a life. And they needed to make arrangements to go ahead and bury this newborn baby. And his mom, woman of faith, strong woman of faith, was not acceptant of it. Father went out, got a shoebox, looking for something to bury his son in. Mom went, talked to some individuals. I mean, she even went and talked to fortune tellers. And one lady said to her, get this, your faith. She said, tell me about this baby that they want me to bury. And she said, he will be healthy. He will live a long life. He will be prosperous. He will be well known, and he will stand before kings and queens. As a newborn.
Well, that is interesting. And it also brings us to the adage, I think, therefore I am. COVID-19 in our rewind, it's, reemergence with it has about 30 different mutations in just this version. They're saying that it may be able to evade, though Pfizer has put out a statement saying that if you are boosted, then that level of protection should be sufficient to protect you from getting a severe case of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. But you can get it still, and that's very, important. The impact of having to get back under our mask and distance, more carefully. We should be washing our hands and cleaning commonly used surfaces anyway. But all that comes with, the COVID-19 precautions. It can bring about this mindset, this this loneliness, this anxiety of the effect on the business and the person and the loneliness. When you start to feel that there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go, I'm gonna get it anyway, that sense of doom sort of changes your mindset. And we got a lot of depression, as a community and individually that came out of that we talked about on previous shows. But starting this year, even though we have that, COVID, people are starting to display this COVID mindset again. I thought it was important to bring on somebody like Ms. Rivera, who is a success coach, because when you think positively, Mr. Poitier did, the first African-American man to win an Oscar as a lead actor. So from the, somebody writing him off, in a shoebox to, one of the greatest known names in African-American talent. He spoke himself high. He conducted himself in a way that, he claimed the goals, he wrote the vision, and he became such. And that's why we want to talk to a success coach today. How can we write a new vision for our community? How can we write a new vision personally if we are feeling these effects of this COVID-19 pandemic? Cheryl, she has a really well composed introduction, and introduce
and we are, because she mentioned the fact of comedy and the importance of it, and you mentioned that as well. And again, rest in peace, Sidney Poitier. Thank you for your contribution to not only to us, because he was a Floridian, he was a Bahamian, but he was also a Floridian, because that's where his family came. But one of the things that he said was to take those complaints that people define you as and prove them wrong. And so I was reading this week, and I got an email about the History Makers, and they are featuring George Wallace for his comic work and him as an actor. When I thought about that, Doc, I saw this clip my son did, Rocky the comedian, rocked the mic out in LA. And Ricky, if you could just cue that up, I want to use this as a segue as we go into the introduction of Jecara Rivera. So this is Rocky dealing with COVID-19.
Oh, wow. That's right. Is that George Wallace right there?
That's George Wallace. So he's being recognized this week as an actor and a comedian. So,
DMX, Cisco.
What they really want from us.
Hey man, it's so good to see you, bro.
Yeah, likewise, bro.
But I only have a little bit. Wait, where did all of you come from? No, wait, I only have a little bit. Just a deputy.
I know, yeah. You gotta love that young man. And I told him he's been doing these motivational moments with messages like that, trying to help us deal. But that one was just so apropos for where we are today.
Absolutely.
And how we are still dealing with this, but we are just so excited to have joining us on the show today, Jecara Rivera. She's a speaker, a trainer, a coach. She's an author, and she's a success strategist. And that's what we're going to hear about today. She's also the CEO of Empower You, LLC. It's all about you. Isn't that right? Dr. Davis, you say be your best you.
You gotta be your best you. You absolutely have to be your best you.
So she's taking a coach, and as a trainer and a coach, she's a proven leader at Fortune 500 companies with many accomplishments, and she can delve into just a little of those. She is an advocate for community through mentorship and advisory board mentorship, something that you and I both believe in and participate heavily in our community. As a working wife and mother, she has experienced the lows and the highs of her own success journey. She has a passion to empower, to inspire, equipped individuals and corporate teams to discover their inner power, overcome adversities, and work fearlessly towards achieving their personal and professional goals. And you know what I liked about this, Jecara? You said, and you started this statement off with the lows. Most people say high and lows, but you just dove right into the lows. Mm-hmm. Love that statement. So welcome to Let's Talk Business with SJC and my co-host for the second hour of the show, Dr. Shanae Davis of Your Best You.
All right, I'm glad to be here to talk about success. Yes, that is my wheelhouse for sure.
So thank you so much again for joining us. What is a success strategist? And tell us about what you do when you go into an organization, a corporate setting or community setting, however, how do you motivate?
Oh, goodness. So I love the title Success Strategies is what helps us get from where we are to where we want to be. And I teach others that success doesn't come in a straight line. It truly is a journey. So from where you are, it could be a financial situation that you want to better. It could be being a better parent, just having a different mindset, growing in your career. So when I speak to individuals and corporate teams, I'm really looking about, you have a vision of what you want. And some people don't even have that. They just know where they are is not where they want to stay, where they want to be. So I help people strategize where they are to help them and be a GPS to where they want to be. The interesting part of that is most people, they have a limiting belief as to how they can get there. It's in them, it's in there, but I'm there to help pull out of them what's already there, and I coach them to their next level. And I love one of my favorite terms is being a better version of yourself. So yes, be a better you, right? So if I'm here, what can I do to better myself? And I always feel like we can always level up. So I understand motivation. When I remember coming up, I was like, I want to be just like Les Brown. I want to motivate people. I want to leave the stage and have people enthralled. But what I realized too, is it's not just about leaving people feeling good. You have to equip them with their own tools and strategies to be able to move to the next place and their next level. So when I leave a group and I leave a one-on-one conversation, I want to leave tips. I want to leave practical ways that they can move on and get exactly what they desire. So that's what a success strategist is I'm helping you strategize your own success journey.
So you said sometimes when you approach an audience, they present you first with their system of beliefs, and you hear and assess those limitations and you deal with them. As you have addressed your corporate and community audiences, what have been some of the biggest limits or challenges that they present to you that keep them from their progress or from their vision?
I think one of the biggest limiting beliefs people have is they don't even realize they have it. I truly believe that when we walk out in this world, that we are 100% responsible for our lives. What we decide to do helps us to move. And I love what you said earlier too, is what you think, and like Sidney Poitier, what he said about himself. I love Muhammad Ali because he talked himself up all the time. What you say about yourself helps you to make those right next decisions. So when I assess people, I'm assessing their language. Where do they start off with? Is it the woe is me? Is that I've been through this and COVID-19 in the last 2 years? Okay, well, tell me about you. Where's your point of power? What things can you change? So when I'm assessing that, I'm definitely assessing their language and how they speak about themselves and about their environment. I am a big believer in the success formula. E plus R equals O. So take out your pens and papers, y'all. Okay, I got it. I'm right here. Okay. The E stands for events. The R stands for response. And the O is your outcome. Events happen in your life and you can't control them. You have the variant, right? You have COVID-19. I was born a Black woman in America. I cannot change that. What I can do is I can look at my response. How do I respond to that? Do I say, As a Black woman in America, I can't do anything. The man is against me. I can't get a loan. Nothing's going to work for me. And what kind of outcome do you think I get with that type of response? Look at Sidney Poitier. He came to America. He moved to New York. I love the story because I've read his book, right? He went to New York with $3 in his pocket.
Yes.
And look what he's done, what he was able to do with his life. He didn't get there and say, I guess I'm just I'll be a dishwasher forever. That's how people see me. His response changed his outcome.
Yes.
So I'm always dealing with people's responses. What you say, what you think, and how you act, you have 100% responsibility over. So I'm helping you to push yourself in that direction to get what you want.
You know what, Dr. Davis?
Yes, because that sounded like a whole sermon. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes, that spoke to me. My spirit, it did.
But she is on point, and we can take that acronym and make some sense out of it, because one of the things that Sidney Poitier did say was he took that event when the manager called him and said he would only ever be a dishwasher. He took that event, and to hear your word, he said, I'm going to accept responsibility for the fact that I can't read, I can't write, I can't speak. What can I do to better myself that will yield a greater outcome from me? I love the ERO because that's exactly what he did. He took that event, he responded to it, he got him a coach, he got someone to start teaching him how to read, and he kept at it, and he kept at it, and look at that outcome.
Look at that.
You are on point today.
Yes, that was beautiful. I love that. So speaking of events, COVID is the big event. Our Omicron variant has come back. We thought that we were on to the next show. The COVID has come back upon us. There is a little bit of a light, a glimmer, if perspective has any weight here. Researchers at the University of Florida, where initially it was thought that this Omicron phenomena would peak in February, they've actually pushed that back, looking at our numbers, because literally right now everybody's getting it, to late January. They're thinking literally in coming days to next week, we'll see our peak in the number of cases. Certainly you've heard, and which is, it seems to be the case, that the virulence of an Omicron infection seems to be much less than the impact on our community from Delta. The impact of COVID, the Delta strain, period. We're not having as many deaths, and the severity seems to be much less. That said, the event itself, COVID, seems to have had a similar has prompted a similar reaction from our community. Yes. There's also fear, in the community for the economic outcomes to start rolling back any progress that we've made when we thought we were coming out of COVID. Any progress, is fear of rollback there. Certainly it's fear of the effect on health. You have our more mature and our more immunocompromised members of our community, going, back inside. You see the effect on the airline, etc.
Yes.
I say all that to bring you here, Ms. Rivera. As you are approaching, corporate audiences, community audiences, and those that you mentor, when they talk about the event COVID and how it has affected their lives, any depression that has come about, any limitations in their ability to execute, how do you help them couch a response that yields an outcome that is more positive, that is personally motivating, that helps them to focus forward?
Great question. And another thing I use a lot is your point of power. Is where do you have power? What can you change? A lot of time we focus on the event so much that it turns into blaming and complaining. We focus on the government, we focus on the disease, we focus on a person, and it takes away from our point of power, that response. So while I'm okay, and so in my friend circle, I'm the one you come to when you're ready to move forward. If you want to boo hoo hoo, you got to find, another person, because I can't help you with that, right? That's just who I am. We need that though. I truly believe we have to get it off our chest, get it all out. I hate that I'm here. This is what's happened. And these are real feelings too, feelings of grief, right? We've lost people within the last couple of years that, gone too soon, right? And we have to deal with those emotions and that grief. There's a point where you can't sit in that though, because life does go on. Your life is still moving forward, and anyone that you may have lost, they would want you to continue to move forward. So in my conversations with my clients, my groups, it's always right now. So take the time, do what you need to do to process any feelings you have, but don't stay in the blame game. Don't stay in the ain't it awful club. Like, ain't it awful? What happened to you? Well, it happened to me too. When you stay there too long, you don't focus on the outcomes that you really want. So when you're looking at your responses, I love for people to, what can you do today? What baby step can you take right now? If you know that your financial situation is going backwards, right? Because some businesses are going out of business, or they're getting less, money coming in. So what's the next right thing? I'm always about leaning forward. And if you don't know what to do, ask someone who's been there and lean forward into that direction. So when you're leaning in, you're staying in action, you can then get the feedback you need to get in the direction that you want to go in. So if we're, again, focusing on what we can do, that helps us to stay focused on those goals. One thing go ahead.
I like what you are saying, and I want to be able to get the second part of that without any interruptions. But you were talking about the fact that we have lost loved ones, and I know that my family just lost our family matriarch, and as a result of that, family members were flying in, my immediate family, and airplane flight delays. It was really crazy. Some of them made it, others couldn't. Then I had a brother and a sister-in-law who were dealing with COVID, and other friends with COVID pneumonia. And to hear you say that, we do have to accept where we are and make the decision to move forward. But I did want to just take a moment, since we were doing tributes and memorials, and my beautiful, beautiful family matriarch, Mrs. Barbara Jean Jennings Murphy, who did the ultimate thing, and that was to one day be with the Lord. And so she made it. She always said, your home should welcome you home. And so now the heavenly ancestors are welcoming her home. But we're going to get ready to take our commercial break so that you will be able to come back and fully help us, because all of us are in this state right here. We've lost so many family members. We haven't even had time to grieve before you were forced with the next one. And it's like, I'm just going through, and I'm speaking for others as well. We're just going through the motions, but we're not dealing with the reality of it. So we're going to take a break. And when we do, listen, ladies, we are going to hear what's happening with Moffitt Cancer Center, hear their commercials. We're going to mute our mics. And if you want to put your business logos up, you can. But when we come back after the break, we're going to hear more about your positive affirmations. Because listen, I've got my pen and paper here, and I'm ready. I do not take what you are telling us lightly, because we want to be successful in 2022 with our mental health, our physical health, overall health.
So we're gonna talk about ways to find our point of power personally, and also tap into those power points in our community right after the break.
Because we have a power strategist in the house. Back in a moment.
Strong, beautiful women take charge of their lives, and it starts with learning the facts. Hi, I'm Vivica Fox. Nearly 250,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. Most of them have no known risk factors or family history. And it's more deadly for Black women than any other race or ethnic group. But it doesn't have to be. Mammograms can make a difference. These x-rays of the breast can add years to your life if they detect cancer in its early stages. With early detection, you can lower your chances of needing aggressive treatments. Remember, an annual screening starting at age 40 saves lives regardless of race or ethnicity. We need to get serious about taking care of ourselves and knowing our family history. Talk with your healthcare provider about the best screening plan for a strong, beautiful you.
And we are back. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Moffitt Cancer Center, and all that they're doing in our community to eradicate cancer. Right before the break, you were about to get into being this powerful, successful strategist that you are, and you're about to parlay some of that power on us. I see Dr. Davis is back. And so, points of success.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
So
Ms. Rivera.
Yeah, so I was just about to get into, because we talk about goal setting and we look at, what do we need to do? What can we do so we can focus forward? A big thing right now in January is vision boarding. You've probably seen vision board parties here, success parties there. And for those who don't know, a vision board is just a poster board you put together, throw some pictures on there, some words that are exciting, that bring life to you, that help you to focus forward. I'll tell you this, I'm a little different in that I don't think vision boards work, y'all. And the reason I say that is I have this vision board. I had it on with beautiful pictures. I was going to be Oprah, Queen Latifah. I had a few, some stars up there. And that thing sat on the wall for about 6 months. I took it off and it ended up behind my dresser and got dusty, y'all. So I was like, this vision board stuff does not work. It's not that it doesn't work. Yes. I don't think we use it appropriately. So I want to give some people some tips on how to set up your vision board so it does work for you. So the idea, again, we talked about E plus R equals O. We want to stay focused on the outcome. And when we aren't getting what we want, we have to change our response. We might need to change the way we think, act, and the way we see things, right? So for that outcome to look realistic, I think is the biggest thing. For some of us, we put our vision boards together and we have a 10-year goal up there. So when 2 months go by and we haven't reached it, we get discouraged. We're like, I'm never going to meet Oprah. What am I talking about? Why did I even think that, right? So if we could, instead of seeing our 10-year goals or even the 1-year goal, do a 6-month goal. What happens is when we get discouraged, then we stay or we get distracted. And once we're distracted, it's hard to get back on. And that's why resolutions end in 3 weeks, right? People say, I promise I'm gonna lose weight this time. I'm gonna stop drinking this time. I'm gonna spend more time with my kids this time. And it won't last because we have these grandiose ideas of what that looks like.
Yes.
If we could, on our vision boards and in our minds and writing down our goals, make those goals realistic. It should be a stretch, but you wanna make it realistic that I can actually reach it. So when you reach it, you can celebrate. Right. I remember, I am a recovering perfectionist, I will say. I have major goals, right? And my one goal was to write this book, and this book is going to be released next month. But I had this goal since last year, and I had a picture of it. I knew it was going to be released in June of last year. And when I didn't reach it, I had to push it out. Things happen, had to move it out. But if I'm always pushing out the end, I'm never celebrating along the way. I wasn't excited about the outcome or the process of success. And I told you, success is a journey, is how I see it. So as I was leaning in my strategies, I wasn't excited about the process anymore. So come October, I stopped looking at it for about 2 or 3 months because I'm like, well, it's not going to happen now. How many times have you set up a goal, got discouraged, fell off the track, and didn't pick it back up again? If we make our goals a little shorter, more realistic, we can reach it, celebrate, move on to the next mini goal, celebrate, and move on to the next mini goal, and we will get to the end. So I truly believe vision boards do work, but we have to work within the belief system we already have. And once we get those mini goals won, we build that confidence that we need, that if I can do that, I can do anything. If I overcame that tragedy, I can do it again. If I overcame that limiting belief, I can overcome another one. So when I work with people to help them dig in and fearlessly work toward their goals, it's because they have behind them the confidence that they've done it before and that they can do it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are so on point. Let me do this because I'm loving what you're saying. Information that we're going to need to our radio listening audience. If you're viewing us on Facebook or YouTube, here's a perfect opportunity to like and share and do so that others will be able to hear this important information, because I'm with you. Love vision boards, but I learned a long time ago, take small steps. Take small steps, and so that you can award your successes. So please share, like, tag someone so that they will have this to come back to. Dr. Davis?
Absolutely. I am just loving everything that all the tools and pearls that Ms. Rivera is sharing with us. As soon as she said that, vision boarding just seemed to kind of put down her fire a little bit. I can identify with that totally, because it looks like an arts and craft, production that I'm walking into. First of all, that's just not my strong suit. I like the conversation, but when I go to a vision board setting, it always seems to be more focused on the arts and crafts of it all. But for the vision itself, I think the concept is brilliant. And I took these notes on how important it is to focus on the outcome, stay focused on the outcome, shorten, your goals so that, your success and potential to get to your final outcome is more realistic. Celebrate along the way, and also stoke your confidence, sort of boost yourself up. And I keep coming back to the point of power. Okay, so
only your power.
So here is my question. Sometimes when patients come in here, certainly we do a little COVID assessment before they come in here. But if they've experienced COVID, or they have COVID effects, or have been affected because someone in their family passed away, or etc. COVID has affected our life in many ways. There's a lot of woe is me. So finding that point of power sometimes becomes really hard for people. Let's talk about reframing perspectives. Okay, how is it that in corporate or community settings, you can take a lemon or a glass perspective that's half empty? What are some of the strategies you use to make it half full, to give more positive perspective, so that an organization, a community, or an individual might find their power more easily?
Ooh, nice. Yeah, and a lot of time it is getting people out of the mindset that they're in, right? And pointing to what they do have control over. One of the activities I like to do is I have usually a really big audience. Even in a virtual world, I'll do this particular exercise, and I'll pick on someone and I'll say, Cheryl,
yes,
I see that you're in the room. You are the biggest idiot I've ever met. And everyone's like, oh my God, did she just say that? So the idea is, and I'll ask, what do you think Cheryl's feeling right now? And everyone will say, oh man, she's low self-esteem. She's probably upset and angry. I said, well, that's one way to think about it. But didn't I just teach you E plus R equals O?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Her response should change how she feels. What if Cheryl said, or she could have said to herself, you know what, how did she know? She just met me, that I'm the biggest idiot. Oh my gosh. Or Cheryl could have said, she just picked on me because she knew I was here in the front of the audience and I was going to be paying close attention. And I do look pretty good myself, but she's probably going to come by and try to get my number later so we can connect and network. The idea is, it's not what I say, it's what Cheryl says about herself.
Yes.
What does Cheryl say about Cheryl? So you're in here and you have a problem and you're complaining, you're telling me your issues. Okay, what are you saying about yourself? What can you do from here? What are you saying? And we have this chatterbox in our head all the time about what we can't do. I can't do math. I can't sing. I can't, it's always something that we can't do. But when we start saying that about ourselves and we start downing ourselves, we actually cut off all resources, because our brain we think in our subconscious more than anything, right? So if we are telling ourselves that we can't do something, can't find something, can't get the resources, it could come right in your face and you won't even see it. You say, I can't sing. You might have someone offer you free singing lessons. You'll say, I don't even want them singing lessons. I don't even care that I can't sing. The offer is there, but you miss it. Yes. You don't see it, or you downplay it because you've told yourself so many times of what you can't do. But when you put it out there, like, I can't sing yet, or I can sing a little bit, I know I can get better. So when God brings those things back to you, the opportunities and those resources, you're ready to grasp it. When we can get people to think outside of where they are and think about what's possible, and we talk about positive affirmations, this is a great place for that, is when we're staying in the positive, when we can reframe our negative declarations, when we can reframe the I can'ts to the I can, or that I will, or the I am. Now, when resources come, I'm ready to take control of that because I see it now. It's in my conscious mind to find. So for example, for your clients that come in and this is what COVID has done for me. Okay, well, what have you done for you lately? What are you doing next for you? What's next on your horizon? Let's talk about that. Let's stay in that conversation so we can change your response to get a better outcome. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to use that. Cheryl, I'd like to try and focus on what we can do for our community.
Absolutely.
To try and stoke some of this positive energy where there is still a lot of fear for vaccines. There's still a lot of fear on, catching COVID and how our families will be affected. What are some of the things that we can do, outside to sort of stoke positive energy to, encourage the community to get out, or some exercises or some resources that we can support our community to help this effort to try and help us to do things that are more positive or reframe some of the messaging that's out there.
And also, Dr. Davis, and let's just keep in mind, we're talking about community, we're talking about minorities and getting involved. As I listened to Ms. Rivera talk about woe is me and taking the route of complaining, what I learned years ago when adversity hit me, I just kind of took myself out of the situation and really just prayed and asked God, what can I do to help someone else? And as we begin to look at communities and what we can do as individuals, we're coming up on the Dr. Martin Luther King Day celebration. Here's a perfect opportunity as you're beginning to craft some things that we can do for us, because we have so many organizations that have created a day of service.
Yes.
And now with COVID, nobody wants to go out, or will enough people go out, or should I go out? And sometimes it's just an excuse. But it's just because, COVID has kept us so confined that we have become complacent. So when we're thinking about, listen, Toba has not missed a beat. ML King Breakfast is going to be a sellout.
Yes, it is.
Okay? And so we took last year, but this year, it's a sellout. And then we've got the parade that's coming up. And the city has opened up to have the ML King Parade. The city has opened up to have Gasparilla Parade. So as you're beginning to help us, and we're thinking about these activities, but what can we as individuals do to help us with this fear factor and how to best protect ourselves? Ms. Rivera?
That's awesome. So a lot of that is taking yourself out of that, I say mindset a lot. Like you said, there's some real fear and some real anxiety around how am I comfortable getting out? First of all, educate yourself, right?
Yes.
Get to a point where you feel educated to make a decision on what you need to do to stay safe for yourself and your family, and step into that. Trust that I'm doing all that I can do where I am, right? And then I love what you said, Cheryl, is serving others. Stay in service of others. So whether that means going to the events that are outside, or how else can you help? Your voice can be so powerful. Our voices alone, if you're standing up for someone else, what advisory boards can you join so that you can bring light to situations that need to be heard more of? where can you serve, to give? If you don't feel comfortable being around others, there's still ways to give out. And again, opening up your mindset instead of, well, I'm not going over there because of COVID. Well, what are you doing instead? What other activities could you get involved in? And when you're out, stay safe, of course. But the idea too is stop thinking about what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. And whatever you feel comfortable doing, do that. Lean into that, because that's exactly where we are. And whatever your outcome you want to reach, figure out a way to get there, because again, success is a journey. It's not just one way. We thought these last 2 years, we're going to go back to normal. This is normal, y'all. Like, there's no back to normal. So stop wishing and waiting, lean in and do.
Lean in and do. This is the new norm, Dr. Davis.
Maybe, Cheryl, we can maybe lean into all of this positive energy, this formula of event plus response yields the outcome. We have a community environment at 5508. Before we went, all Zoom, this is our second year, being all Zoom, thanks to COVID. And it's been an amazing benefit. Here's my, glass half full. This is my, positive perspective on this. We used to love going into the studio there at 5508, but we've been able to tap into just a massive amount of talent with professionals in Moffitt Cancer Center, with professionals in Orlando like yourself, professionals all across the country with this medium, and actually even reach a bit more, because now we have more circles that are overlapping. But when we do come together live, how about getting Miss Jecara over to Tampa for a business? BBIC, Black Business Investment Corporation, does events out at 5508, and so we have little expos out there all the time.
We do,
but we need to put this energy in front of our community leaders, because I'm motivated. How about you?
Absolutely, and that's a great opportunity. And remember, we've got so much coming up. This month is the beginning of a new year. Everyone's looking to start the new year off on the right foot, whatever that is for that particular person. I have my goals, and I shoot and I strive for them. And even when I don't reach that particular one, it never stops me from getting to. And I'll give you a great example, and because it is an example. Last year, for my birthday, I did a fundraiser because I work with a lot of nonprofits. I volunteer with a lot of nonprofits, and there are more, but I selected 10, and I couldn't help them the way I would normally help them, because they weren't having their events, they weren't having their fundraisers. And my prayer was, Lord, what can I do to make a difference? And Dr. Davis was there, all of our co-hosts were there, and we did a SJC 64K fundraiser for 10 causes. And as a result of that, we had a goal, and we reached almost about $20,000 that went to all of the nonprofits. But here's what happened. I get a call in December saying, hey, I want to make a donation to one of your nonprofits. Can I still do it? And I was like, absolutely. My birthday will go for a whole year. And that's what the Lord reminded me. I didn't have to stop on 12/31.
That's right.
Go until that next birthday. Then I got another call saying, hey, I want to be able to make this donation. But the best call came, Doc, when Angela Small, who, when we did the Facebook campaign, you can only donate to one cause. So they got the bulk of the money at the beginning of the campaign. And there was this young fella, Giovanni, that wanted a whole computer gaming system. Angela Small is the founder of A Second Wish. And these are mainly kids who have terminally ill conditions and are just looking for, they can't qualify for Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Okay.
And she created A Second Wish.
Oh.
Well, that first fundraiser that we did on Facebook, where the bulk of the money went to A Second Wish, we raised enough money to get Giovanni for Christmas the entire gaming system. And it just made my day. And it just reminded me, keep going.
Yeah.
You haven't reached your goal yet? Keep going. Because the calls are continuing to come in. Hey, Cheryl, how can I do? What can I make a donation? What cause am I making a donation to? And all 10 of those organizations have been sharing incredible stories with the monies that they're receiving. So sometimes it's not about you, but it's how you can use your gifts and your talents and your expertise to be a blessing to others.
Service matters, and that does warm the heart. It actually fills you to be able to give, and that is one of your points of power. So we want to thank you, Dr. Rivera, and have you give us some takeaway points. I want to make sure that I capture, all of mine from you, and I know that I'm going to make sure that I reach back out to you, because there are things that, my circles of influence can use from you. And I believe that a connection will help me personally as well. So the C.
And yes, you will be coming from Orlando to Tampa. We will make that happen.
Absolutely.
Yes, I will.
So the C plus R equals the outcome. We absolutely have to couch our response to get the desired outcome that we want. Certainly the event is valid. So, the grief, the emotion, and how we process those things, that experience is also valid. Not to minimize that, what you say, it was a ain't an awful club, not to minimize those experiences, but we don't have to stay in that club. We don't have to stay, in that space. And a right response is the way, out of that. Ms. Rivera told us about finding our points of power. And I see something amazing coming, out of that, Cheryl, ways to find our point, of power. And this is something that Ms. Rivera, speaking into existence, can talk to us about, in a future segment, or maybe we can bring her over and do something on a grander scale on how to, find our point of power. Maybe that can be written into some visioning.
Well, you know what? Her book is coming out, and we're showing it on the screen now. And so we do want to give her, with the time that we have left, an opportunity to talk about, this is our power show. And we want to use this so that you can talk about that. And I did share with her that when the book is released, we'll definitely have her come back. We've used our platform to be a blessing to so many authors. Yes, incredible. And we've seen their sales just soar. So we do welcome that opportunity to have you come back. But let's take the next couple of minutes and let you tell us about your book, the debut of it, and what we can do from there. We will, and depending upon how that goes, we may take a break to come back and let her finish up so that we can end the show on In Touch. One of the advantages of having a Zoom show is we may turn off from the station, but we can continue the conversation for a couple of minutes longer, because we need to hear these points from you, Ms. Jecara Rivera.
Well, I'll wrap up with this. The product that you see on the screen now is actually available on the website. That's an audio coaching program. That's about 45 minutes to an hour of me teaching you to take control of where you are. The title of that is Back in the Driver's Seat, because my goal is for you to take back control of your life. Stop sitting in the co-passenger seat. I want you to drive it. And there's some strategies in there on how to do exactly that. The book is in the same vein. It is geared toward young professional women because I've been there. I've done that, right? I worked in the corporate industry, worked my way up. I started, just knew I was going to be the CEO of the company, but life happened. So I talk a little bit, I'm going to talk about that in my book, about being a teen mom, being a single mom, finding a beautiful blended family and the drama that comes with that. So there's going to be some stories throughout that just helps people realize I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. And I want to help you get to where you want to be. So ultimately from today, I want you to remember that the events of your life happen. You are responsible for what happens from this point forward to make sure your outcome comes out the way it is. And I also wanted to make sure I foot stomp celebration. That's one thing I missed. I wish I did that more often. I will definitely do that from this point forward. Celebrate all those small victories along the way. Don't wait for the goal to be reached, because there's always going to be better. There's always a better you. There's always a better version of you. So celebrate along the way as you build up to the best you that you can be.
Your best you, and celebrate the journey. Yes. Perfect segue. I'm gonna hijack just a few moments here though, because celebrating the journey is absolutely what me and my sorors will be doing for the next couple of days. I want to say an amazing, happy, and blessed 109th birthday, anniversary, and Founders Day to the sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Tonight, many of us will be in St. Petersburg celebrating with one of our newest honorary sorors, Lettucey. We will have a cocktail, and also there'll be a concert over there with some of the inspirational music that she composes. But tomorrow, January 13th, is our 109th Founders Day of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Congratulations.
The largest service organization of predominantly African American women in the world.
Congratulations. And you all have a day of service, but will you also, my admin is so on point, will you also be bringing the ball back? Will the Deltas be bringing the ball back this year, Dr. Davis?
The ball?
Yeah,
the Queen of Hearts Ball. The Queen of Hearts Ball is a fundraiser specific to my chapter, the Tampa Alumni Chapter. We are celebrating 75 years this year, and there will be many events along the way. So stay tuned. Of course, COVID-19 and all the adjustments have generated lots of different positive adjustments to our typical schedule, so we have to announce them as they come along. So stay tuned, and you certainly can tune into our website, which is dsta.org, which is the Delta Sigma Theta Tampa Alumni Chapter .org for all of our events and what we are doing. And our president is the lovely and my line sister, Dr. Tayana Richardson. Shout out to T-Mac also at Founders Day Sorors.
Awesome. Well, don't forget, we have the Toba Breakfast. We have and the ML King, Dr. Martin Luther King Parade Foundation. That's free, and you can social distance a little bit as you participate in those activities. Ms. Jecara, Rivera, we look so forward to you coming back to talk to us more about our power and those powerful, successful points that you have shared with us. We're going to take advantage. Dr. Davis, we are right at that moment, so we will go ahead and end our show. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Moffitt Cancer Center. Thank you to our special guest, Ms. Jecara Rivera. We look forward to your ebook and the launch of your new book coming out. We do want to lean in and be your best you. And if you don't know how to do that, tune in to Let's Talk Business with SJC and Dr. Shanae Davis. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Here's to focusing forward.
Lean in. Bye-bye.
Recordings.